It is 1968. Richard Burton is drinking in Switzerland, vodka bottle in hand, while his brother Ifor goes ahead to get the house ready. When Ifor does not come back, Burton heads to his Alpine villa and finds him crumpled at the bottom of the stairs. His neck is broken, he is paralyzed from the neck down. Family members later said guilt over this accident may have deepened Burton's drinking for the rest of his life. But we are getting ahead of ourselves. Let us rewind. It is 1962. John F. Kennedy is in the White House. The Cuban Missile Crisis has just brought the world to the brink of nuclear war, and families are building bomb shelters in their backyards. Teenagers in Britain are discovering the Beatles. A gallon of gas costs about 30 cents, and drive-in theaters are packed every weekend. Hollywood is still reeling from Marilyn Monroe's death, and Technicolor widescreen epics are becoming Hollywood's desperate answer to television. Richard Burton is 36 years old, with green eyes and a voice critics called mellifluous, a baritone so powerful it could allegedly shake theater floors. He is filming the most expensive movie ever made, married to his first wife Sybil, and the tabloids are about to crown him the most hated man in America for what he is about to do next with his co-star Elizabeth Taylor. The Vatican will call it erotic vagrancy. A member of Congress will urge the Attorney General to bar them from America, and Burton will call it le scandale. When most people think of Richard Burton today, they picture diamonds the size of golf balls, volcanic fights with Elizabeth Taylor, and 5 marriages that burned through Hollywood like wildfire. But here is what might shock you. Behind the alcoholism and legendary excess was a Welsh coal miner's son who grew up speaking Welsh, whose mother died when he was 2, and who was legally placed under the guardianship of a schoolteacher who transformed him into one of the greatest Shakespearean actors of all time. Think you know the real Richard Burton? Think again. Stick around because we have revelations that will completely change how you see this tragic, brilliant, unforgettable legend. Surprising truth number 1. The scandal that made him a household name. Picture this. It is January 22nd, 1962, on the set of Cleopatra in Rome. Richard Burton stumbles onto set after not sleeping for 2 nights. His hands are shaking so badly he cannot hold a coffee cup to his lips. So he turns to Elizabeth Taylor and asks, "Hold this, love. Will you hold it to my mouth?" She started to giggle at the mess in front of her. But then she looked into those green eyes, and as he drank, something changed. Producer Walter Wanger wrote, "There comes a time during the making of a movie when the actors become the characters they play. It was quiet, and you could almost feel the electricity between Liz and Burton. Here is the kicker. Both were married to other people. Burton had been with Sybil Williams since 1949. Taylor was on husband number 4, Eddie Fisher, whose own marriage to Debbie Reynolds had ended when he left her for Taylor. Now history was repeating itself. By spring 1962, director Joseph Mankiewicz told Wanger, "I have been sitting on a volcano all alone for too long. Liz and Burton are not just playing Antony and Cleopatra." The affair became worldwide news. Burton's publicist said the actor reportedly stated, "I have had affairs before. How did I know the woman was so famous? She knocks Khrushchev off the front page." When astronaut John Glenn orbited the Earth, some newspapers featured Taylor and Burton on their front pages instead. And here is where it gets absolutely insane. The Vatican got involved. An open letter charged Taylor with erotic vagrancy for allegedly sleeping with Burton while still married to Fisher. The newspaper decried this insult to the nobility of the hearth. According to studio head Spyro Skouras, during one violent altercation, Burton allegedly gave Taylor 2 black eyes, and it took 22 days for her to recover. Taylor attributed her injuries to a car accident, but Taylor could not stay away. According to biographers, she overdosed on sleeping pills when Burton tried to leave her. She later admitted, "We did try and resist. My marriage with Eddie was over, but we did not want to do anything to hurt Sybil." Burton and Sybil's divorce was finalized March 6th. 1964. 9 days later, Burton and Taylor married in Montreal. Only 9 guests attended. Surprising truth number 2. The school teacher who bought him. Richard Walter Jenkins Jr. was born November 10, 1925, in Pontrhydyfen, Wales. He is the 12th of 13 children born to a coal miner who worked dawn to dusk 6 days a week. According to biographer Melvin Bragg, Jenkins Sr. was what locals called a 12 pints a day man who sometimes went off on drinking and gambling sprees for weeks. He had been badly burned in a mining explosion. On October 31, 1927, Richard's mother Edith died at age 44, just 6 days after giving birth to her 13th child. Richard was not even 2 years old. His oldest sister Cecilia took him in, but it was brother Ifor, 19 years older, who became his father figure. Young Richard grew up speaking Welsh and struggled with English. He was smoking by age 8, drinking by 12. At Port Talbot Secondary School, teacher Philip Burton noticed something extraordinary about the rough Welsh-speaking boy. Philip began intense mentoring. He would take Richard to mountaintops and make him recite Shakespeare, teaching him to project that voice across valleys. But at 16, Richard left school to work as a haberdasher's assistant. He despised it. Philip wanted to adopt Richard, but was too young legally, so Philip became his guardian. According to some accounts, Philip paid Richard's father around £50 to secure that guardianship. On March 1st, 1943, 17-year-old Richard Jenkins moved in with Philip Burton and changed his surname to Burton. His entire life, Richard would call Philip his father. As he once said, "I owe him everything." Surprising truth. Number 3. The voice that could shake theater floors. Here is the truth that will blow your mind. That voice was forged through brutal training on Welsh mountaintops, with Philip Burton drilling pronunciation and projection into him for hours every day. Critic Kenneth Tynan called Burton the natural successor to Olivier. Actor Robert Hardy said, "There were moments when he totally commanded the audience by this stillness, and the voice which would sing like a violin and with a bass that could shake the floor." Time magazine wrote, "The magnificent baritone was not merely a voice, it was an orchestra of enormous range and power." Burton combined exceptional natural lung capacity with technical training in breath control and diction. He could recite Shakespearean passages in single breaths. When Burton played Hamlet on Broadway in 1964, it ran for around 137 performances, the longest-running Hamlet in Broadway history at that time. Burton also had a photographic memory for poetry. He once competed with Robert F. Kennedy quoting Shakespeare's sonnets. Both were word perfect. Burton won by quoting one backwards. Surprising truth. Number 4. The near-death crisis. It is March 1961 during the filming of Cleopatra. Elizabeth Taylor, already the highest-paid actress in history at $1 million, is at the peak of her career. But money could not save her from what happened next. Taylor developed near-fatal pneumonia during the troubled production. The symptoms started gradually: fever, difficulty breathing, weakness. But the studio pressured everyone to keep working. Then came the crisis point. Taylor's condition deteriorated so rapidly that doctors had to perform an emergency tracheotomy, cutting open her throat to help her breathe. One news agency erroneously reported that she had died. The permanent reminder was a tracheotomy scar on her throat that she would carry for the rest of her life. Within a year, Burton and Taylor would begin the affair that defined both their lives. Surprising truth. Number 5. The legendary romance. March 15, 1964. Burton and Taylor marry. The world watches as Hollywood royalty is crowned. According to those who knew them, Burton and Taylor could not function without each other, but they also could not stop destroying each other. Their lifestyle was extraordinarily expensive. During the 1960s, they earned a combined $88 million and spent more than $65 million. They bought Rolls-Royces, luxury hotel floors, a private jet, a helicopter, and a yacht called the Charisma. And then there were the diamonds. In 1968, Burton bought Taylor the 33.19-carat Krupp diamond for $307,000, the highest price ever paid for a diamond ring at auction at that time. Burton surprised Taylor with it on their yacht moored on the River Thames. But the Taylor-Burton diamond was even more legendary. At auction on October 23, 1969, Burton set a maximum bid of $1 million. He was outbid by Cartier at $1,050,000. Burton reportedly turned into a raving maniac. According to published accounts, Burton called from a payphone, continually shoving coins into the box. Patrons heard him exclaiming, "I do not care how much it is, go and buy it." The next day, Burton bought the diamond for $1,100,000. More than 6,000 people a day lined up to see it. But by 1969, their marriage was a constant cycle of battles interrupted only by expensive gifts. According to one account, Burton called Taylor's hands large and ugly during a restaurant fight, and she responded that he had better buy her the 69-carat ring so her hands looked smaller. If you are fascinated by these old Hollywood stories, please hit subscribe and tell us about it in the comments. Burton and Taylor divorced in 1974. They remarried in 1975. That marriage lasted less than a year before they divorced again in 1976. On August 4th, 1984, Richard Burton went to bed with a headache. He never woke up. He died from a cerebral hemorrhage at age 58. Burton's family allegedly asked Taylor to stay away from the funeral, but according to multiple accounts, Taylor quietly sent a single red rose. 3 years after his death, Taylor wrote a letter to Burton. "Richard, my always, forever love. Right now, I am brimming with you." When Taylor died in 2011, she was reportedly buried with the final love letter Burton had sent her 3 days before his death, a letter she had kept by her bedside for nearly 3 decades. Surprising truth number 6. 7 Oscar nominations and 0 wins. Richard Burton was nominated for 7 Academy Awards. My Cousin Rachel in 1952, The Robe in 1953, Beckett in 1964, The Spy Who Came In From the Cold in 1965, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf in 1966, Anne of the Thousand Days in 1969, Equus in 1977. He never won, not once. For My Cousin Rachel, Burton lost to Anthony Quinn for Viva Zapata. For The Robe, Burton lost to William Holden for Stalag 17. For Beckett, he lost to Rex Harrison for My Fair Lady. For The Spy Who Came In From the Cold, he lost to Lee Marvin for Cat Ballou. For Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Burton lost to Paul Scofield for A Man for All Seasons. For Anne of the Thousand Days, he lost to John Wayne in True Grit. For Equus, he lost to Richard Dreyfuss for The Goodbye Girl. Critics like Kenneth Tynan had once proclaimed Burton would be the next Edmund Kean, the greatest classical actor living. Laurence Olivier said after seeing Burton's Coriolanus, "Nobody else can ever again play Coriolanus now." But Hollywood rewarded others. Surprising truth. Number 7. The brother he paralyzed. It is 1968. Richard Burton is at the peak of his fame, living in his Swiss villa in Séligny near Lake Geneva. His older brother Ifor, the man who had raised him, now worked as Burton's personal assistant. One night, after a lengthy drinking session with Burton, Ifor went to the house to open it up so the party could continue. When Ifor did not return, Burton went looking for him. He found Ifor at the bottom of the stairs. He had slipped and fallen, breaking his neck. The injury left Ifor paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of his life. According to Graham Jenkins, guilt over this may have helped push Burton into his heaviest drinking. When Ifor died in 1972, still paralyzed, Burton's drinking escalated to catastrophic levels. According to biographer Robert Sellers, at the height of his boozing in the mid-70s, he was knocking back 3 to 4 bottles of hard liquor a day. Burton started drinking at age 11. By the 1970s, he was smoking 60 to 100 cigarettes per day. In 1974, during the filming of The Klansman, Burton nearly drank himself to death. In 1981, Burton quit drinking, calling it worse than cancer, but within a few years, he had started again. Surprising truth number 8. The final performance. By 1984, Burton was 58 and in terrible health. His liver was damaged. He suffered constant, severe pain in his neck. But he took one final role that would become his most critically acclaimed late-career performance. He played O'Brien in the film adaptation of George Orwell's 1984. During filming, Burton wore a neck brace during rehearsals. He had to wear heavy makeup because the director felt he looked 20 years older than his age. Burton had great difficulty remembering lines, sometimes requiring nearly 40 takes to get a scene right. The result was one of his most critically acclaimed performances. Burton died on August 5, 1984, less than a week before he was due to begin shooting Wild Geese 2. The film was dedicated to his memory. Surprising truth. Number 9. The Funeral in a Red Suit. August 5th, 1984. Richard Burton dies from a cerebral hemorrhage at his home in Séligny, Switzerland. 4 days later, more than 1,000 people lined the route to the Old Seligny Cemetery. Only about 80 family members and close friends attend the funeral. 3 of Burton's brothers stand at the graveside, quietly singing in Welsh. Sally Burton places a letter, a flower, and a book by Welsh poet Dylan Thomas on Burton's coffin. Burton had requested to be buried in a red suit, his favorite color, with a copy of Dylan Thomas's poems. After his death, British tax authorities argued that the strong Welsh symbols around his funeral showed he had never really given up his Welsh domicile. His estate faced an inheritance tax bill of about £2.4 million. On August 11th, a memorial service was held at Bethel Baptist Chapel in Pontrydyffryn, where thousands turned out. According to one account, Elizabeth Taylor visited Burton's grave a few nights after the funeral. A photographer asked to take pictures. Taylor allegedly said, "Just give me a little while alone with Richard, then I will turn to you and you can shoot." Surprising truth. Number 10. The voice that lives forever. Richard Burton's final gift to the world was not on film. It was his voice. Throughout his career, Burton made extensive recordings of poetry, Shakespeare, and dramatic readings. His 1954 BBC radio production of Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood became legendary. Burton won a Grammy Award in 1976 for Best Recording for Children for his narration of The Little Prince. He narrated Jeff Wayne's musical version of The War of the Worlds in 1978, a concept album that became one of the best-selling of all time. Time magazine wrote at his death, "The magnificent baritone was not merely a voice, it was an orchestra of enormous range and power, and when it was silenced, its graceful sound seemed to linger on for millions who had heard it on film and stage." Burton once said of his voice, "I think it is invested with small coal and rain or something. The voice is the voice of my people." From a Welsh coal miner's son who grew up speaking Welsh and struggled with English, Richard Burton became one of the most recognized voices in the world. He was nominated for 7 Academy Awards and never won. He was married 5 times, twice to Elizabeth Taylor. He drank himself nearly to death multiple times. He lived through an accident that left his beloved brother paralyzed. But what remains is that voice. Still shaking floors, still magnetic, still unforgettable. A star who lived entirely on his own terms and refused to fade quietly, even at the very end. Which fact shocked you most? The school teacher who became his guardian, the brother who ended up paralyzed, his 7 Oscar losses, or that defiant red suit burial that created a tax controversy? Let us know in the comments what caught you completely off guard. We would love to hear your thoughts about this incredible, complicated, unforgettable Welsh legend.